The origin of the Bible is a complex and fascinating topic. Here's a brief overview. The Old Testament oral tradition. The stories and laws that make up the Old Testament were passed down orally for generations before being written down. Around 900 to 800 BC, the earliest written texts of the Old Testament began to emerge, including the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible. Over the next several centuries, various texts were compiled and edited to form the Hebrew Bible, also known as the Tanakh. The Hebrew Bible was formally canonized around 200 to 100 BCE. Jesus lived and taught in the 1st century CE. His teachings and stories were passed down orally by his disciples and other followers. Around 50 to 150 CE, the earliest written accounts of Jesus' life and teachings began to emerge, including the letters of Paul and the Gospels. The 4 canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were written between 68 to 130 CE. The New Testament was formally canonized around 300 to 400 CE. In the 4th century CE, Jerome translated the Bible into Latin, creating the Latin Vulgate, which became the standard text for centuries. With the invention of the printing press in the 15th century CE, the Bible became more widely available. The process of deciding which books were included in the Bible is called canonization. Here's a simplified overview. The earliest Jewish scriptures, written in Hebrew, were compiled around 400 BCE. These texts included the Torah, the first 5 books, the prophets, and the writings. Septuagint. Around 50 BCE, Jewish scholars in Alexandria translated the Hebrew Bible into Greek, creating the Septuagint. This translation included additional texts known as the Apocrypha. In 90 to 100 CE, Jewish leaders gathered at Jamnia to discuss the Hebrew Bible's canon. They established the 24 books of the Hebrew Bible, excluding the Apocrypha. The earliest Christian writings, including the letters of Paul and the Gospels, were circulated among early Christian communities. The apostles and their associates wrote many of the New Testament texts. These texts were considered authoritative because of their connection to the apostles. The Council of Nicaea affirmed the divinity of Jesus and established the Nicene Creed. While not directly addressing canonization, this council helped solidify the importance of certain texts. In 1546 CE, the Council of Trent reaffirmed the canon of the New Testament, including the 27 books we have today. Texts written by apostles or their associates were considered authoritative. Texts that aligned with the teachings of the apostles and the early church were preferred. Texts that were widely accepted and used by early Christian communities were more likely to be included. Texts used in worship and liturgy were considered important. Some texts, like the Apocrypha, were excluded from the canon due to concerns about their authorship, content, or orthodoxy.
Like and follow.